Hi, this is Nadira Jamal. Welcome to Imagery and Belly Dance. Before we begin, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a performer, teacher, and coach based in Boston. I'm the creator of the Improvisation Toolkit DVD series, and I'm a total geek. If you've seen my other work, that should be pretty clear by now. In this program, we're going to talk about what imagery is, why it enriches your dancing. We'll do some exercises to help you explore imagery, and then I'll invite you to do some reflection to help you incorporate these ideas into your own dance. So, what is imagery? Imagery is the use of a specific image to motivate your dancing. Now, this image is not just a picture. Often it includes an object, such as incense, an action, maybe wafting that incense smoke, and often it will include a situation. Where are you doing it? Maybe you're doing it in a small, dark room. So, why would we use imagery? For one thing, imagery prevents scribbling. It helps you slow down instead of doing everything that you can think of. It helps you focus on one idea instead of jumping from idea to idea to idea. And it helps you create coherent movement ideas that you can communicate to the audience. All of this helps the audience follow your train of thought. Imagery also creates much richer dancing. You'll find that you do more movements that are off the menu. So instead of just focusing on the same dozen or so movements that you learned in class, you can start to invent different movement pathways that are still beautiful and still fit the belly dance aesthetic. Imagery can also inspire new ideas, whether that's new movements or different ways to put the movements that you already know together. And it also brings a beautiful sensuality into your dancing. Now, many dancers are uncomfortable with the word sensuality because our culture associates that with sexuality. But sensuality is just the use of and awareness of your senses. So things like smell, touch, taste, and sound is something that you can bring to the audience through your dance. And that's a piece of what makes belly dance so special. One of the things that we're communicating to the audience is that it feels wonderful to move, and it feels wonderful to be in your own skin. And so bringing more sensuality into your dancing through imagery can really enhance that effect for the audience. So now let's do some exercises to help you get comfortable using imagery. Before you begin, you're going to need to do a little bit of preparation. First, I'd like you to create a 30-minute playlist of soft music. Now personally, I recommend some nice, smoky shiftatellis, but you may prefer something more lyrical, such as veil music, or any slow music will be fine. I also recommend that you do this exercises with the lights very dim, ideally at night. This will help you relax and focus more on the image and how you're feeling rather than on how you look. For the same reason, I'd also like you to cover up your mirrors. If you don't have a way to cover them, just dance with your back to the mirror. I also suggest that you get rid of any other distractions. Put your phone on silent and do anything else that you need to make sure that you're not interrupted. Finally, have a pen and paper handy for when you finish these exercises, so you can jump right into the reflection while your memory is fresh. There are a few ground rules that I'd like you to follow while you do these exercises. First, no judging. You're focusing on exploring new ideas, not on performing. So some of the things that you do may not work or may not be appropriate for the stage, and that's okay. We're just trying on ideas. It's also okay to feel silly. Since we're exploring, you're going to be doing some things that are very much you, some things that are very much not you, and some things that may take a little while to feel comfortable with. And that's okay. So give yourself permission to be silly. Finally, don't limit yourself to standard belly dance movements. Again, we tend to think in terms of a specific menu of moves that our teachers taught us, but there are quite a lot of movement pathways and different ways to move that fit very nicely in with the belly dance aesthetic. So just because you didn't learn them in class doesn't mean that they're not appropriate. So here's what to expect in the exercises. These are do-it-yourself exercises, so there's no on-screen dancing and no on-screen cues. Instead, you're going to see a series of inspiring images, pictures that will help you focus on the image that you're working with. There's also no music in these programs. It's really important when you're working with imagery to be comfortable and to set up an environment where you feel inspired. And that's why I've asked you to choose your own music for this. So you can play your own playlist simultaneously while the video provides you with my voice and with these beautiful images. So let's also talk about what to do during these exercises. I'm going to give you some specific images and some general instructions, but it's up to you to decide how to move. When you're playing with imagery, I recommend that you begin with the arms. If you're having a tough time, you may want to begin with a very literal interpretation of my instructions. So if I say that I'd like you to stretch spider webs between your fingers, actually take your hands, grab those spider webs, and pull. Once that feels comfortable, I'd like you to move into some more abstract ideas. You don't need to actually mime the movements, but let that idea generate the movement. And once you've got more abstract arm ideas happening, then you can let the body follow along. But again, there's no right or wrong way to do this, and our focus is on exploration, not performance. So don't stress about this too much. Do whatever feels comfortable and whatever feels natural. We'll begin with spinning spider webs. Beautiful silken threads between your fingers. Stretch them out and draw them back in. Feel the soft silk in your hands. Now pull those threads from a spool inside your chest. Now the spool has moved into your forehead. Draw those silken threads from your temples. Now the spool has moved into your abdomen. Draw those silky spider webs out of your belly or out of your hips. Now take those silken threads and tie them into a beautiful bow. Wind those threads around your arms. Draw the threads out of a spool in the floor. Weave the threads into a beautiful silken fabric. Now waft that fabric in the air. Maybe you're shaking off the dust, or maybe you're lofting it like a silk veil. Now wrap yourself in that soft silk fabric. Caress your face with the fabric. And then let the silk fabric slip off your body and to the floor. Now we're going to move on to painting your whole space. So take your hands as a paintbrush and paint the wall in front of you. Paint the wall to your right. Paint the wall to your left. Now paint both of the side walls at the same time. Paint the wall behind you. Maybe you'd like to turn around to do that, or maybe you'd like to paint it behind your back. Now paint the ceiling. And paint the floor. You can paint up high, you can paint at a medium level, or you can paint down low. You can paint your own body. Try painting the fronts of your legs. Paint your belly. And paint your arms. Paint your shoulders. Paint your face, your cheeks, your jaw. Paint your eyebrows. Paint your hair. Now paint anywhere that you'd like with big sweeping strokes. Now paint with smaller, quicker brush strokes. Now take a tiny little brush and paint tiny little dabs. Now let's work with fluttering leaves. So imagine a dry leaf falling from the tree and fluttering down to the ground. Now imagine two leaves fluttering down to the ground together. But the two leaves don't fall at the same speed. Sometimes one lands faster than the other does. Now a whole slew of leaves fall off the tree at once and fall like snowflakes. One leaf falls, but before it lands on the ground, there's an updraft that lifts it into the air again. Before it finally settles down. Now imagine a bright green healthy leaf still attached to the tree that gently flutters in the wind. Now work with the entire tree branch. One strong branch holding dozens and dozens of fluttering green leaves. And now the entire tree, swaying in the wind, green, healthy leaves, gently dancing in the wind. Time passes, the leaves get brown and gold and orange, and in one great gust of wind they all fall from the tree at once and land on the ground, creating a beautiful, deep pile of dried leaves. Now I'd like you to move through that pile of leaves. Feel the dry crunchiness on your skin. Hear them crackle as you move through them. Now gather a big armful of leaves and toss them into the air. Now we're going to work with splashing water. Imagine that you're standing in a pool of delicious warm water and splash your face. You can splash with both hands or just one. Feel the lovely warm water rinsing and cooling your skin. Now splash your shoulders and your chest. Splash your arms. If you prefer, you can take a beautiful soft sea sponge and gently sponge your arms with the water instead. Now you're standing in a very shallow pool. Splash your feet with the water. Splash your legs. And splash your belly. The water deepens, and now you're back in that beautiful deep pool. Now splash your friend in the audience. Move through the water. Sway from side to side. Move your arms in that beautiful, warm, sweet water. Feel the resistance of the water against your arms as you twist from side to side. Now take a big deep breath and dip down under the surface. Float back to the top. And try it again. Big deep breath and dip. Now take a big double handful of the water, raise it high in the air, and let it drip down your body like a gentle shower. Now take another big double handful and let it drop suddenly. Play with those two ideas. Big double handful, raise it high, and let it trickle down slowly. Another deep handful, raise it high, and drop it suddenly. Now we'll work with wafting the incense smoke. I'd like you to imagine that there's a beautiful wrought iron brazier on the floor in front of you. And this dish is filled with glowing coals and rich, lush incense. The incense smoke is rising up from the brazier in front of you in a beautiful column. I'd like you to waft that smoke towards you so you can smell its rich scent. Draw the smoke to your nose. Now waft it out to the audience so they can smell it too. Waft it all throughout the room so the whole room smells redolent of this beautiful smoke. Now someone has moved that brazier so it's high up on a shelf. Waft that incense smoke back down to yourself. Reach up, grab it, and draw it down to you. Now bathe in that beautiful, delicious smoke. Draw it over your arms, over your belly, over your face, and to your hair. Notice how your skin becomes rich with that same delicious scent. Now imagine that you are the smoke, dancing in a single undulating stream that rises up from the brazier and extends all the way to the ceiling, rippling and swaying. And now there are air currents in the room that are causing the incense to ripple and eddy in beautiful curling shapes. Now you separate yourself from the smoke, and the room has completely filled with this rich, heavy scent. It's absolutely full. So as you move, you're moving through an atmosphere made completely of this redolent scent. Feel the smoke on your skin. It's insubstantial, but you know it's there. Notice how your skin smells being in this beautiful smoke. And actually take a sniff of your skin. Draw your hand across your face and notice the beautiful smell of your hand. Now take a deep breath with your entire body and blow that smoke away. Poof. Now it's time for some reflection. This is a very important step, so please don't skip it. I'd like you to grab your pen and paper and make a note of what you observed while you were doing these exercises. What did you feel emotionally? What did you feel in your body? What was happening in your imagination? Take all the time that you need, and if desired, go ahead and pause this program while you make those notes. Now I'd like you to ask, how was that exercise different from the way that you usually dance? What did that bring up for you? Were there any ideas or moments that you want to remember? Which of the images did you like the best? Were any of the images uncomfortable for you? When you finished your reflection, it's time to bring this imagery into your own dancing. So here's what I'd like you to try next. Choose your favorite image from the list and try to incorporate that image into a combination or choreography. See if you can adapt that basic framework to bring this beautiful image to the audience. If you're comfortable with improvisation, improvise with that image as your motivation. And after doing any of these exercises on your own, always take some time to reflect. Go back to that same list of questions and ask those in the context of what you just did. When that's done, I'd like you to repeat the same process with your least favorite image. This is a little bit of a challenge, but it will really help you grow as a dancer. And if you absolutely hate the image even after all of this, that's okay. You never have to use it again. You can chalk all of that up to the learning experience. I hope you've enjoyed this program and that you found it inspiring and helpful. So I wish you very happy dancing. You can reach me at nadira@nadirajamal.com or visit my website at www.taktaba.com. I'd love to hear how you use these ideas and how they've affected your own dancing. So don't be a stranger. You can reach me on Twitter at Nadira Jamal, and I'm also on Facebook at facebook.com/Nadira Jamal Belly Dance. And again, if you have any questions, comments, or if you just want to say hi, drop me a line. I'd love to hear from you.